Before we get into this episode of The Hassle of Hair, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. First up, we have Castro's Pool Service and Repair. If you guys need your guys' pool serviced, maintenance, clean, fixed, Castro's Pool Service and Repair is the place to go. Their phone number is 209-675-5418. That's 209-675-5418. Check them out today, guys. Support those that support us. We have a new sponsor, guys. Our new sponsor, before we get into the episode, our new sponsor is Fun Zone Head Shop, the best head shop in town, guys. They're located at 525 I Street. That's 525 I Street. Follow them on Instagram, Fun Zone Head Shop. Fun Zone Head Shop. And I'll have all the links for you guys below.
It's Fight Day!
I'm Jesse.
I'm Raquel.
This is The Hassle of Hair, a podcast.
Going after your dreams.
A podcast about going after your dreams.
Okay.
But no, it's a podcast about going after your dreams and finding your passion in life.
Yes.
And we're The Hassle of Hair.
For the Hassle of Hair?
We are The Hassle of Hair. Thanks for listening, guys. Love you. Yeah, welcome, Frankie. This is The Hassle of Hair. I'm not really good at introducing people, but before we get started, I wanted to let you know I've been wanting to do this episode, and I bugged you about it before because you were the first person in my life that I seen go after something they wanted. Like that. Do you remember the day that I saw you on stage?
At the improv or at the
At the improv.
I think so. Was it the first time I did the improv?
Yeah, it was. No. It was. You had been doing comedy for a while. It was at T Roosters. I wanted to go to that, and it might have been the first improv day, but I was always working at FedEx, and I got off of work. I was like, okay, I gotta go, and then I ended up going, and it was just super cool. To this day, I consider that moment watching you on stage, like, an eye opener for me.
Really?
Like, why am I here doing a labor job?
Right.
And Frankie's on stage doing art.
Damn. Well, I'm still doing a labor job too.
So you're doing
but I appreciate that, man. I didn't.
Yeah.
I suck at like I'm lazy, dude. Like I'm always like, well, we gotta, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and I feel like we always have something going on.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, I can't make it this weekend, I can't make it that weekend, and then, so I'm glad you came in to do this because I've been wanting to do it. I'm just hella lazy.
Well, I don't like. I'm not. This is how I get social. Like, this is what I do. I don't go out to events or go to anybody's things, or like I go to the gym, I go podcast, and I consider that my social life.
But that's good, dude, because you're not out being a fool at some bar, drunk, neglecting your family. You know what I mean? Like, it's all positive stuff, and it's a trip because I see you doing everything you're doing, and I'm like, dude, that's hella dope and inspiring.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's crazy that you're saying that I helped you when I look at you, and I'm like, whoa, this is dope, dude. Like, I'm glad to see you, and then now Isabel doing it too. Yeah. That's hella dope. And now you're coaching, like, so I'm like, this is dope, dude, because I feel you on that labor job and that whole, like, what the fuck? Can we cuss on here?
Yeah.
It's one of those, like,
come
Watch
was
out.
a little harsh.
I thought come was oh, dude. There's no limit. I'll say some crazy shit.
I was like, man, should I start off with telling him that he was a big inspiration in my life and really bring the podcast like
No, because I mean, like, I listened to your podcast, the one with I can't remember if he does MMA with you, but he was talking about his addiction, like, and all that.
Oh, EJ.
Dude, that was a dope episode. Like, because I feel like your personality, you're very like I was excited that you're coming. I was like, dude, and I feel like I'm always like, oh yeah, I'll see so and so, whatever. But I was like, dude, Jesse's coming, dude. Like, I was all pumped, like thinking of all these old memories and stuff. And so you have that, like, great, kind-hearted, like I see you, and so I'm gonna like, I see you and I see your mom, dude. Like, the joy and love of your mom. Like,
let's just make this podcast super sad.
No, but it's a good thing because that's what you want. Like, when someone passes away, you're gonna get sad and all that, but it's like you have to live to honor that person, and being sad and being a piece of shit human towards others isn't the way you do that. And taking that love and magnifying it, what you're doing with your kids and everybody you coach, and you have that you're like that fire that comes into the room and lights it up.
Yeah.
And I feel like you got that from your mom. You're honoring your mom by doing that. And so I see that when I see your posts and everything. And I think that's super fucking dope.
Thank you.
Because it's not just that you're doing it for yourself, but you're also inspiring everybody around you and you're lifting them up.
Yeah.
Especially when I see you're like, oh, so-and-so is fighting today. And you're like pumping them up. Like you're kind of like that person who like came up. You had the option to be a piece of shit, but you're not. And that's fucking cheers to that. Cheers to
you know, it's funny. And cause like, you know, like when I post my stuff and you're saying it's inspiring, imagine me without my shirt on and then like in like dad shorts and just hanging out on my couch. Like, like it's not inspiring when I'm just laying down on my couch. You know what I mean? Like,
but you have to do that to balance it out. You can't just be fucking give. You're gonna run yourself to the ground that way. But the way you're doing it is
it's crazy because like that's you hit a point that I've been going through it with my whole entire life, right? Like not my whole entire life. This year, I'm learning to balance all that out because I want to give. That's just in my head, right? Like I want to help everybody because I'm like, you only live once. Like I got to see death. You know what I mean? Like it's a trippy thing. Like I'm like, you only live once. Let's all live a happy life. And then so I want to help everybody. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks into trying to help people, my cup is empty. You know, and it's a trippy thing. And I'm learning to balance that. I'm learning to find out who the people are that just want to waste your time.
Right. No, because it's true. You have like people who just suck you dry, and then people who kind of like refill your cup.
Yeah.
And it's like that's hard to find people who are gonna refill your cup.
Yeah.
Especially like when you're so positive, because then they kind of dump their shit on you, and then if you don't know how to dump that shit away in a productive way, then you're just gonna be.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I grew up across the street from you, and watching you. My brother was best friends with you growing up. Like I was that little brother that kind of was just on the outside, and I got to see you grow up. I got to see who you were, and it was always like, oh, that's Frankie, the kid that's always just happy and go lucky. You know, like I wanted to be you.
Damn.
Well, it just.
Well, because there's the older kids that you looked up to, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then you started the, like I told you, I have a weird memory. I remember stuff that just it connects with me. You started one child, one village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to start that.
Yeah. You started it.
I mean,
it just didn't keep going.
Yeah, I got some advice that pissed me off at the time, but I was like, fuck. It's one of those, like, you get the advice in the moment, and you're like, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then later down the road, you're like, oh, that was good advice. Some dude had told me, he was like, why are you reinventing the wheel? Why not just join some organization and add to it? Why are you starting your own thing?
Yeah.
But the way he said it was kind of like asshole-ish. He wasn't asking.
So for the people listening, what was it?
One child, one village, because I feel like it takes a village to raise a child, right? And so it was supposed to be a nonprofit. Like it was going to be eventually like a community center that was like the helping village for whoever. Like, you know, I grew up without a dad. So your mom helped raise me. Your dad helped raise me. Your grandma and grandpa, Anna and Hector, became my parents in a way because my mom was always working. So, fuck, dude, I have 89 earthquake. I was at your house. You know what I mean? I have some of my best memories are from us going to the zoo when we were little. My freaking handprints are in cement at your grandma's house across the street from my grandma's house. Like, dude, like, that was the village. You know what I mean? And then back then, we had everybody hung out. Like, Lena and Tina next door, Byron and Rolando, Luis down the street. It was like a village. So, a lot of people don't get that. And so, I wanted to make that for others. But
it's crazy because, like, you say that you're saying that it wasn't like you didn't keep on going with it. You have no idea how much you trying to do that inspired me, and it's still my views and my thinking towards coaching these kids that I'm coaching. Like it's 100% like because you started that.
That's
like my views on like it does take a village, and I say it because of that. I didn't know that saying before.
Yeah.
No one told me that
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
and it's a common saying. But I mean, no one told me that. I only know it because you started that thing. And
Well-
it was like orange. Yeah, like an orange logo, right?
Damn, dude, blue and yellow. Yeah, like
Yeah.
a blue and like a yellowish orange. That's
Yeah.
dope. Kind of like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, a little bit darker. But
Yeah, and
that's a
it
trip. That's a trip because you're saying that I inspired that, but that was your family's work that inspired that in me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like a whole. It's like a circle.
Just,
Like a circle.
And it's funny because you and Freddie, you and my brother, you guys got this this community growing up in East Side San Jose on Adrian Way. You guys got a community, but then when it hit my age, it's like San Jose changed. Like a lot of those people that were living there, it kind of wasn't the same. Like Rolando was gone. Like there wasn't a family like Tina and Lena. Right. And like there wasn't a community on our block anymore. I had like one friend, and that was it.
Was it Emmanuel? No, what's the name? Emmanuel was.
That was Freddie's friend, and that's what I'm saying. There was.
What about your boy that lived down the street?
Tito. That was my only friend, and like there was and I thought about it recently. Like it changed. Like San Jose changed. Like it went from that community to all of a sudden that my uncle Hector grew up in, where people were cruising, and there was a community to there was hardly any kids on my block. It was like 5 families in one house.
True. Yeah,
it's such a trip.
That's a trip, dude. Cause I was and as a trip because I was like, dude, that was dope. Like growing up was dope right there. Yeah. And then we had Mama Rose who had the after school care for like it was like child care center, not child care center, but she would babysit people's kids, and then we played with them.
That's just that
was a lady hustling, dude. She was hustling.
Yeah,
she had to do it, but that was dope because then she became like the neighborhood mama too. Like, she'd be like, don't be playing over here. Like, don't do this. Like, that's what you need. That's why everybody's all fucked up now.
Yeah,
there's nobody doing that anymore.
Yeah, and Los Baños is like Los Baños is in that stage of changing into that kind of that city feel. Like I'm telling you, it's like it's real small. When my Uncle Hector moved there, it was small, right? Small, and now it's like it's growing, and it eventually in like 20 years from now, it's gonna be San Jose.
Yeah,
right. I don't know. It's such a trip.
It's true because that shit's spreading. Yeah. But damn. I just think Los Baños is dope because they're the only place I've seen with the drive-through Baskin Robbins. Is it still there?
Yeah.
My boy, that is the dopest thing ever. I'm like,
it's not good. Like like you guys want to I'll be with my family. It's like you guys want to go get something for dinner. It's like no, let's just get Baskin Robbins and call it a day. It's like what? Why are we eating ice cream for dinner?
My first full-time paycheck.
Yeah,
I got Baskin Robbins for lunch. I was like, I'm having a fucking brownie sundae for lunch full. And I had a big old brownie sundae for lunch, and that was it. Because you can do shit like that when you're an adult.
So tell me about what you're doing with comedy. Like I know that you started since I seen you there, and you're saying like you're doing it when people ask you, and you like tell me what you're doing now with comedy.
So with comedy, I'm just having fun, and that got dude, I'm telling you, it was weird because quarantine was like, I loved it. Like, we didn't have any plans. We didn't have to go anywhere. I was like, this is dope, fool. Like, I like people as a society. Was it that you ever watched the show Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah.
So it's like, I like people as a society. I don't like individuals.
Yeah.
So I think some people, like, there's just a lot of mean people out there. Yeah. So sometimes I'm like, I'd rather just be at home. I like the people I live with. So I like my wife and my cat, so we're cool. But so at that time, I was like, I don't want to do I don't have the itch to do comedy. And then like once people started opening back up and everything, I was like, oh, I kind of want to do comedy again. Yeah. And then I started having dreams that I would do comedy after okay, everything's opened up, I'm gonna do comedy, and then I would bomb because I was like, I don't remember my jokes, and then I started doing shows again, and it was dope. And so I started doing more and more shows. Like I used to do improv once a month. But at San Jose Improv once a month, but the promoter there doesn't do. The promoter I was working with doesn't do shows there anymore.
Yeah.
And so that kind of stopped. But then,
because I've seen you're in Hollister, and then I think you're in Merced.
Just Hollister. I think Hollister is the furthest like into the valley I've gone.
Yeah.
And then Salinas coming up October 15th. I'll be in Salinas at Stoney's Tap House. It's a cool ass spot. It fits like maybe 120 people.
Yeah.
So it's dope. Bomb ass food, bomb drinks. So, and then I'll be DJing too. So I'll be there for an hour after DJing. Dope.
And then you're gonna be the
crazy
DJ for the strippers too.
Oh.
Like he does everything.
My friend tried to get me to do that one time. He's like, hey, this strip club, it's what is it, those coffee houses? Yeah. He's like, they're looking for a DJ. Blah, blah. I was like, oh, fuck DJ there. I'm cool. But anyway, so I started doing comedy again, and I was like, at one point I wanted to do something with comedy. I was like, oh, I can make it I'm funny. Like, I can make a career out of this. And then I was like, I don't know if I can travel all the time, no family. And then, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do all that, but I don't know. I feel like I'm like rambling, but I think I have a friend or an acquaintance who his daughter is an agent for comedians. Like her boss represents Kevin Hart and like some other big names. And so I was like trying to like, I gave her one of my clips. Was like, hey, can I get some feedback? And she ripped my shit to shreds, dude. I felt like, why the fuck am I doing comedy? Like, this is fucking stupid. And I was like, she's right. Like, everything she said was like, yeah, she's right. She's like, he sings like he does comedy once a month. He doesn't write his jokes anymore. Like, too much crowd work. And I was like, but she didn't hear the people laughing. Like, everybody was laughing and shit. Like, and I go up there, I'm like, oh, that was good. Or I'll be able to tell, like, oh, that was good. That was bad. Or like, And then I was like, well, I'm supposed to headline next week, dude. How am I going to headline?
Why would you do that before you headline?
Because I was like,
why
I don't know.
After? Like, did you expect her to say, like, it was the best thing I've ever heard, not Frankie?
Ever, but like, dude, this guy's funny. Like, and then so I had like messaged my boy who booked me on the show. Shout out to Johnny Pena. I messaged him like, hey, fool, how much time am I doing? It's about 25 minutes, half hour. I was like, fuck, that's a long time, dude. I was like, fuck, I don't want to be funny right now, dude. Like, fuck. And then I told him what happened, and he's like, hey, bro, he's all, why'd you ask her? And I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to get like professional feedback. And he's like, I think you're fucking hilarious. And you seem to get good laughs. So like, what's the problem? And I was like, he's like, why are you doing comedy? And I was like, I'm just doing it just to make people laugh. So well, just remember that. Just remember that that's why you're doing it. And I was like, okay. Because I go up and I can tell, like, last week? I had a show and I was like, it was cool. It was a weird audience. It was just like, because sometimes you'll get a weird audience, dude. You're like, oh, they ain't laughing at shit. They're not here for, like, why are you here? You don't want to be here to laugh. And a lot of comedians say that because they're not funny, but it was also like, oh, like they're on their phones texting. Like I'm watching, because you kind of watch the crowd as you're like waiting to go up, and then you're like, okay, these fools are not paying attention. They're on their phone. Oh, their friend's up now. Oh, they're just paying attention to their friend. And so it's just like, I don't know. It's a trip, but
it's art, dude. It's art.
It is.
Like it
is.
Like the way you're talking about it. Like I think you're a little too hard on yourself. Like it's art. Like you know how many times this podcast, like you see me setting up right now, like if someone saw that was a professional podcaster, if that's a thing, I don't know, but like they would tell me like, you need to get your shit together. Like I don't know, man. Like it's just art. You gotta just, if you didn't hurt when someone criticized you, then you wouldn't. If you don't care about it to that point, then you shouldn't be doing it, right?
But this is where I kind of like, because I had a conversation with my aunt and my cousins, one of my aunts and my cousins one time. Yeah. I don't like critics because you ain't doing shit. You're talking shit. Yeah. And so I'm like, I ran into someone from high school and they're like trying to tell me how to be a comedian. And I was like, have you done comedy? Have you written for a comedian? Have you, like, you don't know. Like, I can't, like, everybody's a fucking coach on football. Like, oh, they should have done this. And I always tell people, like, why are you here, bro? Why aren't you coaching the team? Like, what, and it's kind of like, I don't care for critics, because it's kind of like you're right. It's an art of like, okay, I'm doing it just to be funny and make people laugh because it's hard to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And so like, there's people who are like, oh, you're fucking trying too hard. Just be yourself, dude. You could sit there and like you're watching it, and I'm pretty sure fighting is the same thing because you're just taking that energy and you know what you're gonna do. Like I know what jokes I'm gonna tell most of the time. Like sometimes I'm like that week it was hella hot over here. It was like 100 every week, every day, and I was like, I don't want to be fucking funny, dude.
How do you
like,
make anybody else laugh?
I was like, I don't want to be fucking funny on Saturday. Like, it's fucking hot. Like, I was trying to work on my jokes. I was like, this is fucking stupid, man. Like, there's a fucking AC. Like, I just need some water and some fucking air conditioning, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that set was like, I started off hot, and then it's kind of fizzled out because I forgot all my jokes, and like, I wanted to do new jokes, and so it's a trip.
Yeah, because you get in fighting, like you get even coaching, right? Like fighting, coaching, anything, podcasting. You know how many people have told me like you should do it like this. You should interview this person. You should interview that person, and it's like it usually comes from people that are not doing it or have no idea what they're talking about.
Right.
You know, like I've had when I started fighting at 28. Like so many people were like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. And I forgot where I heard this, but it was like, you know, it was kind of talking about how people, they don't have the same dreams or visions you have.
Yeah.
So they don't understand why you're doing what you're doing because that's not the way they're wired. Like I started doing comedy at 28. So that's a trip that we started like at 28. Like there's sometimes where I was like, oh, if I would have started earlier, but I'm like, dude, like, I started doing comedy because I was tired of people telling me I need to start doing comedy.
Yeah.
They're like, you should go do comedy. And I was like, dude, fuck, all right, fine, I'll go do it. And I did it, and I was like, oh, that shit was dope. Like, first time I did comedy was like 25 minutes, and it was fucking great. Like,
but you were that kid, adult that walked into the room, and it was just Frankie was on point. Like, he was just being funny.
All right, okay.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you were that kid. So like you doing comedy made sense. And then even there was times where and we didn't hang out a lot. I'm not saying we hung out a lot, but there was times where family gatherings and stuff, and you weren't even doing comedy at the time, but you were like trying to do jokes. And in my head, like being a stupid teenager, I was like, why is he doing jokes? Like, why doesn't he just do that on stage? Like, why doesn't he just do comedy already? Like, this is annoying. You know what I mean? Like, just do comedy. You don't need to do comedy here. Like,
it's fucking funny. Like,
but you're just trying to find
up to it.
Yeah, you were just finding your way, and then you became a comic.
Yeah, that kind of made sense. Like,
yeah.
You know, I think it was just, it's one of those things, dude. Like, I'm telling you, I'm fucking lazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't have something going, I'm lazy. Like, I didn't want to do comedy. I was like, I can do that. But there's another comedian, Mitch Hedberg. He's fucking hilarious. And he always tries to like, he said it. He's like, I'm so lazy. Like, I always try to convince myself, oh, that wasn't funny. So I don't have to write it down. Like, cause that's how lazy.
That is.
Cause I'd be like, oh, dude, that's fucking hilarious. I don't want to write it down. Like, and I think something I always go back to was when I spoke at your mom's services.
Yeah. You made it like I have no problem with it. Like my humor is dark and I don't care, but like you made it a comedy act.
Yeah,
like a stand-up.
Because I always remember Polo coming up to me after and being like, "Dude, if you can make people laugh at a funeral,
yeah, like
you should be doing comedy."
It's like what? Dude? Like,
what?
You ever read or listen to The War of Art?
The Art of War?
No. The War of Art. It's talking about artists.
What?
Not art.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna put that on my. I have like 3 Audible credits. I need to buy some.
I have but no, it's
The War of Art.
Yeah, The War of Art, and it talks about artists and like what stops them from being true artists, and a lot of it is the procrastination. Like it talks about resistance. Like there's always that resistance. It could come to procrastination.
Don't want to turn on the top.
Yes, The War of Art, and I'm telling you, like it hits home with me because there's so many times where like I make excuses. Like you know how many excuses came in my head before I came here?
bro.
I was like, I don't have to do this. Frankie doesn't mind. I haven't talked to Frankie in forever. He won't mind that I won't come. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's just you always make excuses for yourself, right? Everybody does it,
right? Because I mean that, and so another thing I love doing is screenwriting, like writing movies and all that, right? So I started going to school in 2015, 2016 at De Anza for screenwriting.
Yeah,
took like 2 classes and then stopped. And then I was like, came up with all these movie ideas, and I was like, dude, if I can just get like paid to write, that'd be so dope. Like if somebody's like, here, dude, don't go to work, just fucking write. And I was like, all right. Boom, quarantine happened, and I was like, I was still getting paid because where I work was secure, and they were still paying. Like I don't have to go in like 12 hours a week.
you fucking.
And I was like, hell yeah. I didn't write one fucking page, dude. Like, I didn't do any writing. I was like, I was getting paid to write what I didn't write. Like, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I didn't do shit. So I was like, fuck.
It's crazy, though, right?
And so, because I just was not feeling creative. Like, I was like, I don't want to, like, I was like, okay, maybe I'll start thinking about jokes to, like, write up. And so when I go back to comedy, I could have new jokes. Didn't write any jokes. Didn't write any, like, nothing creative.
Yeah. I
was like, this is dope. We watched The Office. Like, I was like, this is fucking sick, dude. Like
3 times.
I mean, it sucks because my wife was teaching from here. Like that was her classroom. This was the classroom, dude. This small ass fucking room. So if I was home, I'd have to like be upstairs or like just quiet on the couch. Yeah. And shout out to every teacher that had to fucking teach during quarantine.
No. Try teaching gym fitness or martial arts through Zoom, dude. I hated it. Like I went through a meltdown.
Like punching holes in walls. It was like, oh shit, oh sorry, babe. Like she walking through the kitchen, just bam. Oh,
some of the kids were just looking into the camera like this, not even doing anything, dude.
Dude.
But you're doing this. When did you start writing? Because you have a screenplay.
I started writing a script. Like so, me and my buddy Fabian, we used to do the podcast together. It was his idea for doing podcasts.
This is years ago.
This was like 2000. This is when podcasts weren't like as big.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's do a podcast. I was like, you said like you make it happen, and then I'll like help out. So we had like 2 different mics. Like it was just so janky and cheesy. But dude, we put out like 20 episodes. We got like 2,000 downloads. It was like, dude, damn fool, like this is dope. But we'd get lazy.
Yeah.
And then so me and him would like do the podcast. We would write. He helped me write a lot of my jokes. Like we would bounce ideas off each other. Oh, that's funny. And then we would just top each other, and so it'd be funny. And then
I did listen to it.
Okay.
I did listen to 2 episodes, and it was weird because you had to go to your website. It wasn't even on like it wasn't on like Spotify or
it wasn't
Apple.
Anything.
Yeah, it was like on your website.
That's right.
Right? Like
right. It was on Spotify. I think we barely got it on Apple.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't Stitcher, there wasn't like
I didn't even know what a podcast
Spotify
was.
Exactly, dude. And that's why he was like and I think after a while I was like,
watch it has like 2 million downloads.
Well, I think where the website's gone, like it's all off.
Taken off.
Yeah, because it was like $5 a month, and I was like, dude, why am I paying this? We're not even doing this anymore. So like I canceled it.
Yeah.
So we came up with an idea for a movie because I was like, there's not a lot of movies out about DJs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can make a funny movie about DJs. So then we started writing that movie, and I was like, dude, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. Started going to school, and then I was like, oh, let me write like, and then I just started coming up with different ideas, and then I forgot, like, I still have to finish that movie. I haven't finished it, or we haven't finished it. But then I started writing other scripts, and then so I wrote. I think I have one like 90-minute script done, one 50-minute script done, one 20-minute script done, and it's all gonna be kind of like a part of a series.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that,
but like you just wrote it. Like, what are you gonna do with it now?
So I'm waiting to hear back, dude. Fuck.
How's it going?
So, cause that's why I'm kind of like, oh, now what? So I'm like, they're done. I don't have to worry about it no more because it was like every day, just like Frankie, Like, hey, remember me? Like in my brain, right? Like I'm doing shit at work. Like, hey fool. Like, don't, and it's just bugging me. I was like, fuck, dude. So I finally just started writing. And then I held myself accountable by posting on Twitter for some reason. Yeah. Like, I'm going to post day 1, day 2. Like, every day I got to post. Like, every day I got to write. And I finished writing in, like, 21 days. I finished a script that I had. And I was like, oh, shit, the Austin Film Festival. I had applied for that before with some other fucking project I did that wasn't even, like, I was like, this is stupid. I don't know why why I'm submitting this. Yeah. So I finished that one. I submitted it to the Austin Film Festival, which is like in the screenplay world, that's huge. Yeah. So I'm waiting to hear back. So I should be getting notification within like a week or 2. And it sucks because I submitted it back in May, and they said like mid-September you'll know like what's up. And I'm seeing like on Twitter that hella people are getting notices for like they didn't make it. So I'm like, oh fuck, does this mean I made it? Like like now it's just like a waiting game, right? Yeah. And then I was getting scam calls from Austin, Texas. So I was like, is this damn fool? Like,
you owe $5 million.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was like, hi, we're doing a survey on the status of United States. Then I was like, how long is this gonna take? 20 minutes. I was like, like, is this a test? Like, I'm over here like, is this them, dude? Like, what the fuck, dude? I got time for your shit. But yeah, so now it's just submitting and then trying to find like.
So you finished it though.
Yeah,
that's dope.
So there's one of them. I'm like, and I met with a friend who he had posted that he was part of a short story, like once you have like you kind of sometimes want to start off with like a short film. Yeah, that's kind of like your business card. Like, this is what I've done. Oh shit, you've done this. Like, oh, that looks cool. Hey, how would you work on this with us? Or how about you work on that with us? And so
it's to get people to give you money, basically trust you with their money to make a film.
Right. Yeah. And so he, like, a friend of mine was involved in one. So I was like, hey, dude, like, can I pick your brain? Like, how did you do it? And so now he's putting me on to like other, like, oh, check out this company in LA that supports Latino like writers. And so it's just now I gotta hustle. But there's still parts of that series that I want to finish writing. Yeah. Before that, so it's like, boom, here's my portfolio of work.
It's crazy because like I'm doing the podcast and I'm like, what? I was doing it before, and I was like, why aren't sponsors hitting me up? Like, I'm doing art. Like, why aren't they hitting me up? You know what I mean? Like, I had a product. I didn't realize like the art is one thing, right? Even when it comes to fighting, the art is the one thing, but then you have a product. You have to hustle and sell that product. That's a whole different thing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, it just, and that's where people get it mixed up. And it's why people have managers, why people have agents. Like, you have to hustle to get that thing out there. Right. But we live in a world now that you're capable of doing it by yourself.
Right. Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's just crazy that you did Justin Bieber,
because it's like, I'm going to put myself out there singing on YouTube. I believe in myself. I believe in my talents. Let me put it out on YouTube. And then he gets Justin Bieber now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's that hustle, too, of, like, when you got to believe in yourself, one. And then, like, I'm sitting here, like, one of my scripts, right? I'm like, oh, fool, like, this is different. It's not a typical movie of random shit you see. So it's like, I feel like, so you got to stand out on your own. Yeah. And then you can't be the same, and I think a lot of people try to be the same. And I feel like, okay, like, let's take your podcast, for example. You're, like, one, you got to be a fucking cool person that people want to support, which you are. So that's plus, check, done, kind of. Done. Well, I mean, are you an asshole? Like, are you an asshole to people?
Not an asshole.
So it turns into, like, wait a minute, Jesse does a podcast. Like, oh, he's into MMA. Like, hey, bro, why don't you sponsor my brand? Like, I'll pay you. Yeah. $400 every time you mention me on your podcast. And that's all these podcasts do now. Like, like, oh shit. Like,
well, that's what I started to do. I started really hustling to, like, okay, I got to put money in for advertising to show people that I'm doing it. And then slowly it just, and then really working on like a pitch. That was the hardest part. 'Cause I'm like, here, bye. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like working on a pitch, like working on your business. Like, I don't want to call it business talk because I never and two different people. I'm one person the whole entire time. And it's like working on how to talk to people rather than just say, hey, buy my shit. Like, how
right.
Like, yeah.
I mean, you can work it into conversations, but it's just kind of like we were watching the Elvis movie last night.
Fuck yeah.
And it was like the movie started like it was weird because it started off one way and then it's just like but you look at Elvis and like how the dude's like Tom Hanks' character saying like, "Oh, I made Elvis." Like, nah, dude, his talents made Elvis. Like he made himself.
Yeah.
You just benefited from it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, if Elvis was a better businessman, he would have been like, I mean, well, then again, he didn't have the internet
if
and
he had
social
Instagram.
media. Yeah, like only if Elvis had Instagram.
Dude, it's insane to think about that because I used to think of Elvis like, oh, he's just this dude, this famous guy that got hooked on drugs, and because I love his music, I had a pompadour for years, and then but I thought he was this famous dude that got hooked on pills, and then just died on the toilet.
Right.
Like,
right.
But he's not. He's this dude that got taken advantage of.
Right. And because we were talking about like the whole like cultural appropriation, how some people were upset that he like stole black music and stole that like that culture. But it's like, well, dude, if you grew up in that, which according to the movie, right, it's hard because it's a movie.
Yeah. Remember, Titans wasn't real.
Fuck. But I mean, like, we were talking about how he also broke barriers.
Yeah.
If a black man would have done what Elvis did, they would have been fucking ridiculed, beat down. Like, it would have been all bad. Like, and Elvis, this white dude, had a hard time. Like,
yeah.
So he kind of broke down certain barriers that made it okay for Cardi B to wop it up. Like, but I mean, like, it's just a trip when you don't have that business aspect to your art.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, once you learn how to connect those two, oh, shit, dude. Like, Prince.
Yeah.
Prince is a great example of owning his own shit.
He was the first Kanye.
Fuck, but
you think artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck does that? Like,
well, did you heard the story of why?
I don't know
right?
the story why.
So, because in the contract his first contracts, he wouldn't be known as Prince, or it wouldn't be like Jesse Diaz. It would be the artist. Yeah. So and I don't know if you've ever like negotiated or worked in contracts. It becomes like Jesse Diaz from here on out, known as the Hassle.
Yeah.
So in the contracts, he was the artist. So the artist retains this, the artist that. So that's why he's like, well, he couldn't use his name for a while. He couldn't use Prince.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, the artist formerly known as Prince. Like, that's why he did that, because of the whole legalities. And
that's crazy.
It's just, I'm pretty sure that's why. Because I remember hearing something about like the artist. That's why he referred to himself as the artist, because just that whole, like, well, fuck, dude, that's how you're seeing me, as this commodity, then that's what I'm gonna be. Like, it was like a fuck you then. Like,
yeah. Well, like, speaking about music, you're also DJ too, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, that was your first thing, right? You had the front room in your grandma's house across the street from me, and you had the front room, and you would just DJ out of that front room all the time, right?
Yeah. That was dope. That was dope because it was perfect, because that people in the house couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And then the neighbors couldn't hear too much, so it was like, oh, I can DJ and like do whatever I want, and like that's where I started just exploring.
And you just sit there, just because you had a whole turntable, you had a legit like old school turntable, right?
Yeah, I still have. Well, I don't have the same ones, but I turntables are the best, dude. Like, you feel it. Like, I've used Anthony has CDJs.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was weird because
the small ones, right?
They were. At that time, music was going that way and then like before computer programs really came out, it was like, oh, everything's going to like little CDs and USBs, like USB flash drives or whatever. And then Serato came out, which is like through fucking witchcraft, you can use your laptop, your records control what's on your laptop.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh, well, this is like steroids for DJs, dude. Like, you can put, hey, do you have this and this song? Like, oh, let me get it real quick. And you download it, and then bam, yeah, I got it. And then you can scratch it up and do all kinds of shit. So with the record, like, I don't know, you just feel it more.
Yeah.
it's a trip. It's like condoms versus no condoms. Like you
is that like an old school way of thinking? It's like, no, vinyl feels better, or is it you can actually feel like you get a better rhythm with it? Like
for me, it's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're growing up on the CDs, like I can hear. It's weird, dude, because I have certain like I can tell the difference. Like, oh, you're using a CDJ, you're not using a record.
Yeah.
Like it's just a weird little like. To me, it sounds different, but then again, that's a trained ear.
Well, I was listening to a podcast. They said that Apple, like when the iPod came out, and MP3s are way downgraded audio versions of like vinyl and CDs.
Well, that's why people use like vinyl's back in now. Like everybody's going back to using vinyl and
it sounds better. I don't know. I can't hear the difference. It sounds better.
It depends on your headphones.
Like they say that CDs have big, like each song is like bigger gigabytes because there's so much.
I don't know the technicalities of it and like all that, but I think it just depends on who's like mastering that up. And your headphones, dude, like I feel like they make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I used like when I DJ, I use Technique headphones.
Like I use these headphones because when I use the iPhone headphones, it doesn't really sound the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I could hear the background noise way better to see if there's any background noise.
Is there background noise? Is there too much background noise?
Oh, who gives a fuck? It's for the ambiance.
It's ambiance, huh? You're really here with us. You're sitting down with us.
We're on a lake
in our home. Oh yeah. By the way, look at it. Look, the picture you posted is right here.
Oh, it is. You know what? Like it throws me off, right? Like, yes, I'm making a weird face, right?
Yeah.
But Anthony being in a suit, like, always throws me off. Like, why is it doesn't? Like,
we're just playing outside, dude. Anthony's like, I gotta dress up. I'm more important than you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, like it just trips me out, man.
So you gotta show Anthony.
Yeah.
Anthony in a suit. That's our cousin Anthony right there, who's taller than all of us now. Well, no, I'm the short one now.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, dude, you guys are all fucking. Both of you with a Power Ranger shirt. Your mom would always match you guys. I think what trips me out is how all the recycle used to fit in those little ass tubs on the side. Those little, remember those?
We didn't
little?
recycle.
I was thinking about that the other day. Nobody recycled. Anyways, that's why we are the way we are right now.
So, like, fill in some memory for me. Like, let's talk. Like, my mom had a candy store.
Dope.
And I was telling my wife, like, it's crazy because we have like a business inside our house, sort of, right? But I grew up with the business inside our house. When I think about it, we had a candy store with like nachos. Like, do you remember it?
Fuck yeah, dude!
I
Like
don't
that was the
remember
best. Like that was the best fucking. I think that was like the one of the best memories of growing up. Right there. It was like go to and it was always the candy lady. Like remember when people passed, like when she passed away, everyone's like, the candy lady died. Yeah. Like it was like the candy lady. Like that's how she was known because we would always go. It was quicker. Like there was no store around. Like your mom's dope ass hustler. Fool. Your mom found like she's like, there's no stores that close to us. Then we open one up here. All the neighborhood kids could buy shit here, and we'd buy all our fucking Sour Patch, Twix, like chips.
Yeah.
So that was dope, dude. Like
never got caught for tax.
Never got caught.
Tax evasion.
Never. Well, it's cash only. No checks. Well, dude. Was dope because I remember it was like right there, like you walk, like you open the door and she had all the candy set up right there to the left, well, left and the right when you come in. Anyway, yeah, it was dope. Bull.
The kitchen had like
the nachos going.
It wasn't just like a little shelf, right?
Dude, it was a big shelf. It was probably like the size of this wall, at least. It was like a rack. It was like I think your dad maybe probably took the racks from Frito-Lay, or like something because it was a big rack of candy and it was always like, fuck yeah, dude. That's why we're all fat.
No,
there was no fruit stand,
and it's crazy to think about because like then like now that you're saying that it's like hitting me, dude. My mom was a hustler, like so we didn't make a lot of money. My mom had this is gonna sound bad. So for like our cleats and our baseball stuff or our football stuff, my mom used like a box that was like 4 years old that said fundraiser. Mm-hmm. do you see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Like she had a fundraiser box and she used that every year and she just had Isabel like this cute little kid walk around with the fundraiser box, like, oh, this is for my brother's baseball. Like, now thinking about it, doesn't sound like it. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do, dude.
Yeah.
And I think, but it was that mentality back then of like we all gotta help each other.
Yeah.
And so it was, people were willing to help out more and it sucks that a lot of people are like, now you're like, is this fool legit? Like, what the fuck's this kid doing? Like, and then now I'm like, well, fuck it, this kid's hustling. Like, we'll buy candy. Like, whether you're doing it for the right reasons or not, you're fucking. At least you're not asking for something. Like, you're not just fucking standing on the corner. And I mean, you know, I do respect that some people have to do that, but it's also like more props to people who are.
You don't live in Los Baños.
No,
our homeless people are all drug addicts. Okay.
No, I mean it's everywhere, dude. Like you're like, oh shit, that fool's on some shit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that dude clearly has mental issues. Like you just don't know. But I mean, when you see certain, it's hard, dude, because you see, like, I feel like we get to see both sides of, like, you see the hustlers who are pushing an ice cream cart, who are fucking setting up fruit stands, who are setting up candy shops in their own house. Like, there's a lady down here on Monterey Road. She's fucking dope, dude. Like, she pops her fucking the back of her van open. She's selling champurrado. She's selling fucking atole. She's selling tamales. Bomb ass tamales, dude. Her prices went up a little bit, but they're bomb.
Yeah.
And she's hustling. Like, she's not asking for nothing. She knows, like, I gotta hustle.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's just a trip to see the two ends of, like.
Well, it's even like growing up with that. Like, we had the ding ding guy.
Oh fuck.
If we had the people pushing the carts, like, I to me it was normal. I don't know to you, like,
right.
It was normal. I don't know how your wife grew up, but like, were there things that you, like, living in like Eastside San Jose, were there things that she didn't know? Like, I don't know. Did she grow up in?
She grew up in Salinas.
Salinas, like, did she grow up with that kind of stuff? Like,
yeah.
I told my wife,
she's dope because she's. I feel like she lived, like, we lived in the same kind of neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a trip. And I'm not knocking anybody who's, like, you know, who has mental issues or drug addictions, because those are illnesses for some people. Like, but when someone doesn't have something wrong with them and they're just fucking lazy, that's that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where the problem. Like, that's where I'm kind of like. It's just, you know.
But that, like, answers something for me, because I always go back and forth with my wife. Like, I always tell her it was different. It was different seeing, like, the chips guy, the corn guy going down the street, like our little league baseball. Our little league baseball. Tell me how you felt when you played little league baseball and you went to, like, Evergreen or, like, these higher class neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Was there, like, a stigma on you guys? Like,
fuck yeah,
right?
Fuck
like,
yeah. Because they're like, oh, East Siders, and we were. What's crazy is we were dope. Like,
yeah,
because you have people who have to play. Like, that was their escape. And when you have that passion, like if you take someone who's entitled to play a sport versus, like, someone who, like, oh no, I'm doing this to escape from my life. Because that's what baseball was for me. Like, in high school, I was like, dude, if I can play baseball all day,
yeah,
like, I don't have to think about school. I don't have to think about chicks. I don't have to think about home life. Like, I don't have to think about nothing, just playing. I mean, I'm pretty sure in more higher class neighborhoods, they, I don't know what kind of problems they go through, but I'm pretty sure maybe for them it's an escape. But fuck, dude, my mom's not walking around the neighborhood with a little girl trying to get free money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
it's like, I always try to explain to people, like, that I grew up with Eastside Little League baseball, and it's different. It was different. Like, I don't know. It was such a big thing in my life, because we did the floats. We did the like, every year you had to make a float to fundraise for your team.
Yeah.
You remember
The parades.
Yeah.
And the fucking,
it was
the
like a
bake
big deal.
sales, the fucking, bro, it's.
You were good at baseball too.
And literally got sucked.
Yeah.
And then, like, in high school I started getting better. And then just didn't do anything else.
But no, like, baseball for me, baseball was a huge thing in my life. Like growing up, baseball was a big thing. Like, the A's were a big thing. Like, it's like you and my brother, you guys, like the year that the A's won 22 in a row, 20 in a row, the year that they won 20 in a row, like you guys weren't you guys doing the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, dude, that was the trip because I was also like right after your mom passed when Freddie was fucking shacking in the house.
Dude, there's no door on that house.
Dude, there was like
There's
no
a hole in the
electricity,
house.
no electricity. Like Freddie was just living there, and dude, I just remember him being like, "Hey." I learned the flying pattern of flies. They fly like in an S. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" He's like, I watch flies and they fly in an S. I was like,
Yeah, because there's a big old hole in because they took out the refrigerator, and for some reason we had a refrigerator in the wall, and they took out the refrigerator when everybody moved out, and so he's living in there, and there's a big ass hole in the wall.
bro. I remember we would go have. Do you remember the Nerf gun fights we'd have after?
Oh, you guys did that. I Anthony's when Hector first moved over there, we did them. I remember that.
No, but
you guys.
I'm
kept
talking
it
about
going.
at the old Adrian Way house. There's no electricity. There's no like nothing. It's just Freddie living on a fucking like on the floor in the living room. We're like, dude, Freddie, bro, you gotta like go with somebody. Freddie's living in the house, and we'd go have Nerf. We're like perfect pool. The house is to ourselves. We can like get Nerf gun fights. I had like bags of Nerf guns.
Yeah.
And then so
Was it just you two or who?
it was me, Freddie, Anthony, and Jules,
Yeah.
and then whoever else would be down. And we'd go have Nerf guns in the house. We'd do flashlights because there's no electricity.
Yeah.
And then we'd leave, and we'd be hella itchy. We'd just be like, "What the fuck's in the house with Freddie, dude?" It was fucking crazy, but it was.
Yeah.
It's just a trip. So after the games or during that time when Freddie was living there, like he would just come over and we'd watch the games, like,
Yeah.
and so that was dope because I mean, you know, that I felt like that bonded us.
Yeah.
But
So. No, that was the playoff. That wasn't 20.
that was
in
the
a row.
playoffs. That
It was a
wasn't 20 in a
playoff. It
row. I
wasn't
don't
20 in a
remember
row.
20 in a row. So I feel like my memory is opposite. Like I have a hard time remembering shit. Dude. There's certain things
No,
I'm like, oh yeah, that was
my fault. It was the playoffs that when my was that the year that the A's lost to the Twins?
No, they beat the Twins.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's because me and Freddie were hanging out. Bro. Like, but I would cut school. Like, well, I was in Evergreen at the time, but I was like, I'm not gonna go fucking. The playoff game's at 11:30, dude. I'm gonna be I'm gonna watch the playoff game, and I'd come over. Fred come in, we just jump in through the window. I lived right there in the garage, and then we'd watch the games, dude. But I don't know where the picture's at. I just remember one day I woke up, and Freddie had put like a shirtless picture of Eric Estrada.
Oh yeah,
like this.
I remember that.
Said some words that you can't say anymore. You get canceled. But I was fucking cracking up. I was like, "Who put this here?" And on the back was just like this sad ass poem. And I was like, "Oh, it's Freddie."
Yeah, it's crazy because I've hit up Jermaine Dye. I've gotten responses from Jermaine Dye and Mark Mulder, but just that they can't do the podcast.
Right, man.
To me, that's like fuck yeah. Like, so I hit up like almost all those A's like during like the generation growing up where I watched like Jermaine Dye, Mark Mulder, Barry Zito, Tim Hudson, Ricardo Rincon. That was my favorite.
When they got Rincon, I was pumped.
That was my favorite player, and
That
he
was
wasn't that. I mean, he was okay.
He was good. He was a good seventh, eighth inning.
But he
pitcher.
was just Mexican.
He was like, I don't even think he's Mexican, dude. Let's look this up. I don't want to ruin your world, but
I think he was.
yeah, I think he's gonna be like Dominican
Or
something,
was it
dude.
Olmedo Signs? Remember Olmedo Signs?
Yes, number 9.
Dude, do you watch the A's?
Oh, he was Mexican.
Yeah. Do you watch the A's still?
Oh fuck no, dude.
No.
It's upsetting to see
Right?
what they're doing to like Atléticos.
I didn't know it said that.
It's upsetting to see what they're doing to the fan. Like they don't give a shit about putting a good team together. Like they're just trying to move.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you either move or fucking like shit or get off the pot, dude. You guys trying to get out or not? Because
But those years, like those, I don't know, they were so cool. Like when the 3 aces,
yup,
dude, it was so like when
Yup.
you go to the games, it was a whole different feel.
yeah,
It
and
was,
it was dope.
and like name another team that had 3 pitchers like that.
The Braves, the Braves are dope, dude. But I mean, it's rare you get shit like that.
Yeah.
Was it
Where
Tim-
they go off to different teams and be the ace, or get paid a bunch of money and then be shitty like Barry Zito, but then come back.
Yeah, but then the Giants put hella restrictions on him.
Yeah.
So they're like, you can't surf, you can't do all this, you can't do like all the shit that made him like.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. So they had like when he was with the A's, he could do whatever he wants.
See, this is why Barry Zito, if you're watching this podcast, we need to.
you, Big 7'5", we need you. But it was like he couldn't do shit. Like, and I think that's what made him good, was that he was able to live life and like, okay, come do baseball. Like, imagine that, dude. Like, hey, go to work, but after work you can't watch TV, you can't drink beer, you can't hang out with your family. Like,
dude, I didn't know that.
I mean, it wasn't that intense, but it was like you can't surf, anything that hurts you, you can't do that. And so that's why he just started
making like 100. Like back then,
that was a lot. He was making a lot.
175 mil, I think, something like that. It's fucking insane. And then you think about the team like Scott Hatterberg, Terrence Long.
Terrence Long was dope.
T Long. And then like, I don't know. It was just a different feel. And I think Uncle Hector made that for me. Like, me and my wife were talking on a podcast recently about how he just started this Los Compadres thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I want to sit with him, down with him too. Like, why would you just start like some random, like, you know what I mean? Like, it brought everybody together.
And I think that's why, because it was that bringing everybody together that, you know, big family. I feel like it's weird because big families are like, not weird, but it's big family people want to keep that going and let that grow.
Yeah.
And so I think he was part of that. Like, no, dude, and how fucking fun was that, dude?
Yeah,
like
the camping.
A lot of the memories, dude. Like, camping.
It started off with camping.
And then softball teams, and then fucking, it's just dope, dude. Like, and I think that would be a good podcast, dude. Like, just get him talking, like, because he's probably got stories.
Because it's crazy because, so, I mean, we're getting close to the end, but, dude,
no, fuck that. Just keep recording, and then when we're done, you just edit it.
No, but like my dad didn't have the best relationship with. Look at, my dad was an asshole. I've said it many times, and he made a lot of fucking mistakes that really put a bind in my mom's side of the family, and I grew up with this weird. Weird thing where I didn't really know my Uncle Hector,
right?
If that makes sense. You were way closer to him, and I didn't get a feel because I had one guy telling me, and I don't know if this is. I had one guy telling me one thing about my Uncle Hector, and then I had the rest of the world telling me another thing about my Uncle Hector. But that one guy was like my boss, like not my boss,
right.
You know what I mean,
right.
like my dad. Right. And then but then when I get older, I think about all he did and how much of a grind, like trying to do what I'm doing, and then like really trying to like start a business and try to do or go after my dreams and all that stuff. Like how much he did and he was grinding. It amazes me when I think about it as a 30-year-old.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
Because he was the president of the union, right?
Yeah, I'm
the cement mason.
That he was a business agent.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Cause like you're responsible for a lot.
And then he started the bike club when he was younger.
And
then he started the Los Compadres. Like, and then he started the gambling.
Started Las Vegas.
Yeah,
like
the casino.
Casino things. Yeah.
And like it's just those.
He was like
things.
a photo booth, but for casinos. But it was dope because it would be fundraisers too. Like, and I mean, no matter how you look at it, business is business. Like, fundraisers are business.
And I need to tell him, Frankie, like, cause like, and I will, and I even got his number a few times because I want to call him, and I've learned to love my uncle outside of even knowing him because I thought about everything that he did, and it's insane. Like he when my mom passed away, he started a fundraiser before GoFundMe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's fucking huge. Like it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, I mean, just say it, dude. Like you gotta let shit out sometimes, and I think that's why I'm like, there's so many like, oh, your mom this and that, because it's kind of like, here's a person who, you're his son. Like, I've told Monica stories. I have like stuff, and it's like, it's different because you're fucking her son. Like, and it's cool to share stories, and that's how you keep people's memory alive. Like, not just like, oh no, his mom passed away. Like, you can't talk about it. Like, no, dude, your mom was fucking dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and there's certain, I think like Hector realized like family's important. Like, not realized, because a lot of people realize that, but like, like, no, like Jesse, Freddie, and Isabel are gonna be hurting from this. Like, I mean, Fred too, but like, he's thinking you guys, because whatever drama they had, like, that's why I'm like, oh, it's dope to see you and Isabel doing what you love, and it's dope to see Freddie doing something similar, in a different way, like, and it's just dope. I don't know, I think as you're probably seeing now as a father, like, you can tell your kids all you want, but it's what they see. It's what they see. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of conversations I don't remember hearing the story. Like, how did you learn this? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't remember hearing anybody tell me that. I just remember seeing this happening, or I remember seeing that happening. Like, you're saying, there's so many. Like, I remember seeing you doing this, and I was like, oh shit. Like, people are watching, they're not listening. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, you may be hearing one thing about Hector, but what you're seeing is everybody coming together, everybody fucking having camping trips. I was thinking about all these memories we had with just the gray van. Do you remember the gray van, dude? Like, your family's gray van. Like, when we went camping, somebody had a gun, and it was like, oh my god, somebody has a gun. Like, so we all like nobody that we know, like some random person had a gun in the campgrounds. So we all got in the gray van and hid in there, like, oh fuck, like, just being in there. Yeah. We went to fucking San Francisco Zoo. I remember going in the gray van. Like, there's a picture of us somewhere. We had these like cheap ass ponchos to keep the rain off of us, but on the way over, we're in the gray van. And do you remember the gray van at all?
Yeah, I remember.
Like the big old freaking, the two front, like there's the two seats in the front.
It'd be worth like $200,000,
bro. I was thinking about like, that'd be a fucking sick ass van to have now, dude. Like, you have the driver, passenger, and then two seats behind them, and then the like bench seat with the table. Fool, that was fucking sick, dude. Like, I remember driving up on the freeway, like pretending it was like I was in a pilot chair shooting bullets. Like, it was just a trip. And that's something like
yeah, you're a screenwriter.
Yeah.
You're a screenplay writer.
But it's just like, dude, we had a good child. I mean, I had a good childhood, and with you guys were a lot of the memories there.
It was good, man. And I want to thank you for, like I told you, you were the reason why the process of the thoughts started going in my head. Like, what am I doing?
Damn.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Frankie's he's on stage right now.
That's a trip.
Like, I stunk like ass. By the way, I stunk like that day. I came out of work and like I smelled like fucking ass, dude. I was like, maybe I don't want to go say hi to him. I just want to leave, dude. I smell like fucking, because I don't know what it was. I was sweating all day at FedEx, and I was like, man, what's that smell? And my buddy that I took, he's like, dude, you smell, dude.
That's you.
So I don't know, man. But thank you. And
thank you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice to hear, because I just, like, I see it as like, I'm just gonna go do comedy. Yeah. Not knowing that someone else is being inspired by it, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you're gonna have some kid come fucking tell you in 10, 15 years, like, oh, Coach Jesse, it's because of you that I stayed in fucking MMA, and now like you're getting fucking VIP seats too.
So like, if you really think about it, you're the reason why I broke my nose.
Just see? Bro, I'll break your nose right now. Right.
But thanks, Frankie. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you doing this. It
appreciate
was cool.
You.
I have no idea, like I didn't know how this was gonna go, and I think it was cool. It was cool. It was good for me.
Well, I'm like, this is it. Like, keep going.
Well, it's been an hour.
That's it.
Yeah, we pay monthly for a certain amount of hours on the podcast thing.
Real?
So we gotta hurry up. No, I was kidding. But thanks, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and we'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. Maybe get Freddie in here and Isabel or something.
Dude. And we all just kill a bottle for the real stories come out.
Speaking about drinking, my sister, you don't know anybody that could drink more.
Damn.
Dude, I've seen my sister after one of her fights, I've seen her down I've seen her down like 10 beers and like bring me more, like not passing out. Like it's insane. Everybody thinks Isabel's this sweet little innocent girl, but you get her some beer, man, that girl could drink.
That's dope, dude. How old is she now?
25.
Damn.
Yeah. She's lesbian, dude.
I thought you said she's lesbian, dude. Like,
yeah.
That's dope, dude. As long as people are happy, dude, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. Like, and I think a lot of people don't see that. Like, it's just all about being happy, man. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just be happy and don't hurt other people. But that's funny. Just what you said. She's lesbian, dude. Like,
but before we end it, where are you doing the comedy show?
Yeah. So on the 15th of October, I will be at Stoney's Tap House in Salinas. And then November 9th, I believe it is, I'll be hosting at Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then hopefully we'll be recording some movies soon.
Well, I'm going to bring that guy EJ, the one that you listen to the podcast. I'm going to bring him. We're going to bring the whole strike crew.
Damn.
And we're all gonna boo you.
Fuck you guys up. You saw my video? Me fucking those two fools up by the pool, trying to throw me in the pool.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Stupid.
Dude, you need to work on your wrestling, Frankie.
Why? I didn't get dick. I took two fools to take me down. Yeah. So
anything else? Anything else you got going on?
Hit me up. You want to buy some USB flash drives with mixes on them? $50 for over 30 hours of music.
I'll make an ad for that.
30 hours of music. I think that's it, man. I appreciate you making the drive, dude, over the hill.
Fuck yeah, dude. Thank you.
Do like a fight promo.